G'day all, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a bit of an older video. It's about 6 years old, but this came up in my feed, watched it. Pretty disturbing really. And it goes to show you how the law can be used against men in Australia incorrectly, being framed. So we've got Tracy, so this is an oldie but a goodie, but it's called Woman Hits Herself to Frame Husband for Domestic Violence. Let's get into it.
Well, now to a story of treachery and deceit. From the outside, they looked like a happily married couple, but when Faisal had doubts and turned to a lawyer, his wife took their breakup to the next level.
You're about to witness one of the most audacious attempts by a wife to frame her husband for domestic violence.
She's dangerous, very dangerous.
Watch how this woman astonishingly punches herself in the face, not once, but twice.
Hopefully she should have done a better job and just knocked herself out cold. And people say, oh, this is an extreme occurrence. And it absolutely is an extreme story. She was stupid as well. She's done it in the elevator where there are going to be cameras recording it. He's very, very lucky that it was captured. But a lot of guys out there, and I've spoken to guys who have told me that they've been threatened by ex-girlfriends or ex-wives, that if they don't do X, Y, and Z, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to say you hit me, I'm going to say you threatened me, etc. So guys are forced to basically bending over and doing things at the absolute fear that the law will come down on them. I've heard it firsthand.
Later telling police her husband bashed her.
It's flipped my life upside down. I'm not the guy who I used to be anymore.
This is a story about temptation and treachery, a lover and a liar, where romance makes way for revenge with catastrophic consequences.
Well, I haven't actually heard of a scenario such as this, inflicting injury upon themselves in order to set up a scenario which results in someone else being charged.
Are you kidding or what? This is very common. Go on Reddit. You go into men's, relationship advice or divorce for men or whatever it may be. You can look at those things. You can see all these stories come up about the absolute treachery that some of these unhinged women perpetrate onto men once they're done with them, once they've discarded them, and once they want to use the law, the full force of law on them to build a story. It could be either to push through a financial settlement, it could be to get more custody of children, paint the father to be some sort of Joseph Fritzl. He's Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know what he's talking about. This happens all the time. The thing is, though, in Australia, and this is one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to preface this and disclaim this video. I think anyone who hits women or women who hit men, anyone who does domestic violence, there's no place for it. Scum of the earth. I just want to get that out of the way. So I'm not defending men who actually do this stuff. I'm just highlighting this is actually quite common. Men getting blackmailed, as I was specifying earlier. I know a guy who was telling me he was going through a divorce and he was arguing more or less to get even share of the custody of the children. And she was saying, look, more or less, I'm going to paint you out to be a PDF file. I'm going to self-harm and say you did it unless you toe the line. And so he was petrified. Didn't want to go through the drama and bent over and did whatever she wanted, agreed to whatever she wanted. Scary world we're living in. That especially men are scared here, especially when it comes to women here in Australia, because it is believe first and potentially investigate later. And this can be for a wide range of things. Sexual misconduct in the workplace, DV, the list goes on. And I think it's bad because you get these women out there. There was some statistic there that women that are reporting men that have, what's the easiest way for me to say it without getting censored on YouTube, forcefully having sexual relations with them, that it was high 80%. In the high 80s are the percentages that these cases are unfounded. They were false. So what is that doing for the other 10% of people who are legitimate it delegitimizes their concerns, and that's why I think that this stuff is really bad.
If love is blind, then Faisal only had eyes for Asma.
She presented herself like she's the perfect girl on the planet.
He met her through an online Muslim dating site
No.
and proposed soon after leaving Western Sydney to meet Asma in Morocco. However, while Faisal was hoping to return to Aussie with a life partner, he now believes Asma didn't share that dream.
She's a greedy person. She's materialistic.
The two officially tied the knot here last year, and Faisal was hardly frugal in making his new bride feel at home. He worked 2 jobs, spending everything he earned on his wife, from Gucci tracksuits to leather jackets, rings, necklaces, and shoes.
This is unfortunately, a lot of men are lonely out there. It's very difficult to meet women for a lot of these guys. And so they get one option comes along, they snap it up. Oh, you married her just basically instantly. There probably would have been a bunch of red flags along the way, and probably a bunch of more red flags when he's tied the knot with her. She's wanting all these things. She was getting the bag, so to speak. Great deal. Great deal.
Holidays and fine dining, parties in Morocco, and money wired back to Asma's family. A fawning Faisal says he was a good provider.
Yeah.
All this traveling, going back and forth twice and 3 times, and doing all the functions, receptions, engagement, jewelry stuff, probably I'm be under 200,000.
What did he get for it? DV accusations. Awesome. Awesome.
But Faisal says they were constantly arguing, and in April, he walked into an incredible sting when he came home from a night shift at Woolies.
Yeah, it was all prepared for me, the whole crime scene.
The unit had been ransacked. Faisal says Asma was waiting for him with this disturbing message.
I entered and she just said to me that you think you are smart and you are talking to lawyers about me. Now see what I do to you. And she just ran.
CCTV captures the bizarre events that followed. Asma runs from
They're
the...
saying it's bizarre. Like it's never happened before. As I said, just look this up. Look this stuff up on Google. You'll get hundreds of hits. I just literally did it before. Now, while I'm saying I'm not delegitimizing people who literally have these problems in their actual lives, but this sort of unhinged behaviour, definitely someone with some sort of borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, who had literally used that man as a target. Well, he's working at Woolworths. He's not a doctor or a lawyer, so he's breaking his back. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with working at Woolworths, but he wasn't well, who knows what he was doing during the day. He probably had to get extra job to fund this person who was just sucking every single morsel of his being and soul out of his body, every little bit of money he had. What I'm trying to say is she sussed this guy out. She knew he was lonely and she was going to get what she was going to get out of him. Bit scary. Pretty scary. This stuff happens.
Apartment and into the lift. She presses the button. Takes a few moments before the incredible Asma attack. She gives herself 2 uppercuts to her face. And
No, they're not
clutches her-
uppercuts. She should have given herself a proper one, laid herself out, done everyone a favour. What an absolute despicable, nothing short piece of shit to do that and put this guy. I'm pretty sure what we're going to see here is this guy who's been dragged, life ruined by this.
her cheek. She then checks her handiwork in the mirror. Seemingly satisfied with her self-inflicted punishment, Asma eagerly waits for the lift door to open.
What a nutter.
She takes off down the hall and into the street to call police. Oblivious to what his wife had cooked up and concerned for her safety, Faisal also entered the police, where he was arrested and charged with assault. If convicted, he faced up to 7 years behind bars.
So why they just didn't look at that footage instantly? So straight away, as I said, this is a problem because women can go and say, oh, my ex-boyfriend, we're having a fight, he hit me, he yelled at me, and straight away, arrested. Straight away. Being a man in Australia, great.
I didn't know that she's going to go to that extent, go to the police and forget everything what I did for her and just ruin my life.
In a follow-up sucker punch,
Newsflash, dude, she never cared what you were doing for her. You're a mark. She'd sussed you out. You're a lonely guy. You'll do whatever it takes to get a perceived attractive woman into your life. A lot of these guys from those kind of backgrounds are brought up to basically worship women and over-provide, I would say. And that's what you're supposed to do. Well, that's normal to do that, to go and do all these things, because that's what a real man does. He spends all his money on Gucci tracksuits and rings and trips everywhere. I'm glad a lot more guys, especially here in Australia, they're waking up to this sort of crap and not laying out the red carpet for someone unless they've really proven themselves.
Faisal says the police unwittingly helped Asma steal his things, which she had packed into these suitcases while he was being held at the station. But more importantly, Faisal's freedom was also about to be taken.
Did you ever harm Asma?
Never. I really loved her.
Faisal spent 20 grand on a lawyer and trawled through hours of CCTV to find his get-out-of-jail card.
And once I saw this, I felt relieved that now the justice will be served.
New South Wales police dropped the assault charges but never charged his estranged wife for making a false accusation.
Exactly. Where's the accountability? She should be locked up. She should have to pay his $20,000 legal fees plus interest. She should have to reimburse him for all the money he stupidly wasted on her because she was using him up like a cash cow. No accountability. That's the thing. And that's what I was talking about with women running off to the police and making false allegations. It's a very high percentage of it. You can Google it. It's very, very high, and there's no accountability for it if they get sprung doing it. Or very, very rarely are they going to be charged with anything. And then this guy's life's been turned upside down. Put in the comments if you've ever heard of stories like this. I know it sounds a bit extreme, and I know I'm sounding pretty cynical, but this is absolutely reason to be. And as I said, there's never any excuse for anyone hitting anyone. Not men hitting women only, women hitting men too. They don't talk about that a lot. There's a lot of DV in relationships that men don't talk about where their wives are hitting them. And because they're a man, that's just, you're weak as piss if you say that you've been assaulted by a woman. Throwing plates, throwing shit during arguments, verbal abuse, threats, financial abuse. We live in a bizarre world.
An offence which also carries a jail term of up to 7 years.
Question is, why not? The answer is, because if they do, they're going to be embarrassed by what they didn't do at first instance.
Victims of crime advocate Howard Brown says it appears police failed to investigate Asma's assault claims properly and assumed Faisal was guilty from the outset.
So when you realise that someone has made a false declaration to a police officer and you can prove that she made a false declaration, you then charge her with perverting the course of justice. Police haven't done that.
Asma's statement to police is shocking.
Faisal grabbed my throat with both hands and began to squeeze tight until the point I was unable to breathe. He punched me on my left cheek and with his fist. He has started to hit me everywhere with the belt. He was so violent to me. I thought I was going to die.
Faisal suspects Asma's motive was an email she discovered he had sent to a visa migration agent. He says he wanted out of the marriage, which was potentially a threat to her ability to stay in Australia.
What do you feel when you look back at these photos of her?
Sad that I shouldn't have done that.
He loved her. She was there for the money. A story as old as time. Story as old as time. Sucked in, hook, line and sinker. All he was a walking, credit card. Pretty shocking, really. As I said, a lot of this stuff happens over here as well. I can't give too many details, obviously, but I know people who are having currently at this point in time, literally at the moment, in flight, issues with police and access to children due to complaints and DV accusations being made against them. It's literally happened, and this guy wouldn't do that. I know him. And people say, well, how do you know? I've known the guy a very long time. Softest guy you'll ever meet. So, yeah, so this is just about every single guy's worst nightmare. I'm very happy for Faisal here, that he was able to meticulously go through and watch all that footage and find it. I don't think he needed to do that. He could have just gone, okay, it was done at around 9 or 10 o'clock, bang, let's get the camera footage for that time. Anyway, good on you, Faisal.
Should have known better.
Yeah, should have known better.
Asma has since disappeared somewhere in Australia, leaving Faisal to deal with the fallout from false love. He's battling away in average shared accommodation to help pay off his debts. The hurt hubby now wants his estranged wife charged, held accountable, and deported back to Morocco.
I am the victim now. I got used and abused over and over again, mentally, financially, emotionally, you name it. I'm the victim. So she did that.
Yeah, that's marriage for a lot of men, and I'm not saying that as a joke, and that can sound very cynical. But a lot of this stuff goes on behind closed doors.
Now it's her turn to face the consequences.
Faisal says he's got a long road ahead before he's capable of finding love again, but says he's learned a valuable, albeit expensive, life lesson.
If God shows you true colors of someone, don't try to paint a different picture. Just stick with that. You'll end up like me.
Stitched up.
New South Wales Police are now reviewing all the evidence. We will let you know the outcome.
Oh, really? Well, why didn't they review it when all that was brought to light? How do you need to review the evidence? It's right there. It's in that video. Charge it. I know it's an old video, but yeah, she would have gotten off scot-free. Enough to do it to some other idiot, to some other guy. All right. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, guys.